So what are your thoughts on the fat cat mount?
Oh my God! Have you seen the description of it?
No.
Oh, it is grim.
Uh, uh, what the fuck?
Are you looking it up now?
No, I mean, I was, and then I typed something, I mistyped, and I got something horrifying.
The giant fat cat description is something horrifying though.
No, no, I have to show you what I'm looking at here. This is
Oh, yeah, you're gonna scar me for life, huh?
so I accidentally I went to type fatter cat mount right
Mm.
here. Let me just pull it up on the
Oh,
stream.
oh God.
It's fine. It's safe.
We're a mature stream. It's okay.
No, I mean it's safe. I just don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. It's a song apparently on YouTube called here. Hold on. Why is this so bad? Called Fat Cat Matt, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? It's on the screen.
Okay.
I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Okay, I'm taking that away now. Anyways, so let's hear fatter cat mount.
Yes, the description for it is one way or another you're riding a zombie cat.
Seeing as how this Percy Pussy can define the very laws of physics by propelling itself high into the firmament, it is very likely that the creature is either void sent using a bloated cat's corpse as its corporal vessel, or a deceased pet reanimated by one well versed in the necromantic arts. Oh my
One way or another,
goodness.
you're riding a zombie cat. It's all cute and fluffy until you read the description. And it's just horrifying.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
You're welcome.
I have to get it for my Lalafell at some point.
Oh, it's account wide though. It's a big account wide.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. So you get it for all. You get all on your cat girl characters.
Oh my goodness.
Look, it's cute and dead.
And dead? Oh, with slight smell of death.
Right, faint bouquet of death. Mmm.
I got
Yeah.
disarmed. Shit.
Oh, look at you.
Oh well. Going back to pixie form.
But yeah, so like well, seeing as how I play a Rogadin, I'm not buying that for my Rogadin. I mean, okay, Lalafell, like it's one of the advantages of playing Lalafell is can kind of look semi-cute, I guess.
Oh, I managed to retrieve my gun without retrieving my gun.
Yeah, I know, it's still there.
No,
it disappeared.
I just picked it up because I went into pixie form.
Oh, they grabbed it, but you...
No, I went into pixie form, came back out, and I had it again.
Oh.
Like pixie form nullifies the drop.
Oh,
That's funny.
That's pretty hilarious. But like I got I've got one of the account wide horses. I've got the Sleipnir. Yeah. And that works. It's it's kind of a dark breeding horse, but it's still a horse. So it doesn't look too hideously out of place.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the fat cat mount is like, but I mean, this is kind of what I was talking about with earlier with the business models. Like Final Fantasy 14 is a hybrid game. It's primarily a subscription-based game, but it's got a cash shop.
Right.
And because it has a cash shop, the game basically has to have things that come out that people want to buy.
Right.
And so then you start to get stuff like that where like there's the fat cat minion, and there's the fat cat house, and now you have fat cat couch, and now there's a fat cat mount, and like and I mean, it makes sense from for people who like it, but imagine on your heavily immersive RP server, seeing some giant Rogadin riding an undead cat mount may not exactly. I mean, I kind of imagine the same thing with the Sleipnir. Like horses are not supposed to be native to most of yours. Yeah, they're supposed to be something from the east. So,
Whoa, the fat cat being a mount though, that's actually a meme.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually been a meme for a really long time. Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
I don't need to see anybody talking about mounting fat cats, please.
Oh my goodness. Get over yourself, God.
I know how those RP servers work.
Okay, I gotta fix this window, jeez.
But yeah, I mean, meme or not. Oh wow. What is that from? There's somebody made an animated GIF of that.
Yeah. Yeah, someone just made the GIF. I've seen it for years.
Right. But I mean, and people have kind of started making fun of that. Actually, take mine, I think. Yeah. Since nobody else is going, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. What's up with that? Well, Apple Smack was AFK, so they didn't get to pick a relic.
Right. But the other guy specifically stayed with us. But yeah. So and so kind of like ways I'm gonna talk a little bit about like EverQuest 2. Kind of the same thing happened with EverQuest 2, where they had a cash shop, and eventually they just started shoving out. Oh, I got the Hey Kiddo.
Oh, nice.
Like yeah, you have the oh, for those that don't know, in Warframe, there's a doppelganger of your operator that'll show up occasionally. They'll give this really creepy "Hey kiddo"
nice
voice. Yeah.
I'm gonna go use the restroom real fast.
Alright, I'll keep people entertained.
And then we'll get on the next topic.
Right. But what I was gonna say is EverQuest 2 kind of had this where they turned into they were a subscription-based game primarily, but then they started to introduce cash shop items. And one of the easiest things to add was mounts. And so you started getting just all these different crazy types of mounts, and a lot of people kind of complained that like a lot of their immersion in the game was ruined because you'd have your character in normal armor and riding your normal horse, and along comes someone in a with a pink unicorn with riding a rainbow or whatever. I don't know if that's literally one of the mounts, but it probably could have been. But so you start kind of getting the same issue where they have to kind of provide content for people that people want to buy, and so potentially you get it so where immersion can potentially be ruined because your immersion can potentially be ruined because the people they have all these different kind of wild and crazy things that have been sold in the cash shop, and so again, kind of to drive home the point that no matter what your business model is, the game companies optimize for that business model. They want to maximize profit for that business model, no matter what it is. It's almost always a question of what we're used to. But yeah, so the fat cat mount, it seems silly, but like I'm sure they'll probably sell quite a few of them, and people will be happy. So, but from my point of view, as a gamer, like like it, I buy it. The part where it impacts me as a game player is when I see it around. If I feel like it breaks my immersion, but there was like Final Fantasy 14 has started kind of poking fun at that because they've basically started kind of doing a lot of collaborations with other games, with other Square Enix games and whatnot. And so they made like a big deal about I think people are going to get the new race, the Viera, which are bunny people, they've only ever showed female Vera, and so like there's a lot of kind of debate about what the male Vera looks like, or if they should show up, or even. And I read this one thing where somebody was like, I just can't get behind Vera, male Vera, as they go and do the near automata, crossover raids in Stormbringer. It just ruins my immersion, they say, as they get in their 4-seater, flying car from Final Fantasy 15. But like you start getting kind of as you get kind of crazier and crazier things that to try to enhance the game. The crossovers are basically something that try to get subscribers to stick around longer. They add stuff in the cash shop to get people to buy it. You start getting like less and less immersive, and so when somebody tries to make an argument about like, well, male VR are supposed to be rare and aren't supposed to be around, all that kind of falls on hollow ears if the issue if the game is already full of stuff that breaks immersion.
Okay, back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, like that was one of the issues. I'm getting a little bit of feedback from you.
Still?
Test. Okay,
yeah,
we're good. I was making sure I couldn't hear me from you. So like in 11, races were gender. The two races were gender locked: the Mithra and the Galka.
Right.
Which is the 14. Which in 14 would be the Mikote and the Rogadins.
Right.
And in the lore of 11, they explain that Mithra males were not adventurous. They very much followed like line pride. So the males would stay home and tend to the families or tend to the children, and the women would go out and do the hunting and the adventuring and the everything. So there's actually no male Mithra or Mithro in Final Fantasy 11. Like there's no male NPCs whatsoever. Just in the same case with Galka, if I remember correctly, Galka asexually reproduced by laying eggs that were rocks, because Galkas ate rocks. Or something like that. No, I'm thinking of Goron from Legend of Zelda. What the fuck am I talking about? Am I drunk?
I don't know. I was sleep deprived at least.
Okay.
Anyway.
Interception or defense?
Yeah, they asexually reproduce, like old Galka will just kind of go off and alone, and then basically a new Galka will start wandering around a little bit later. So the idea being that they go through a cycle of death and rebirth.
I think that was part of their naming convention too. That their naming convention would be relevant to like where they were reborn or whatever. I think. Don't quote me on that.
I'm gonna chapter and verse maybe.
But that was very like world immersive. Where like saying like the male Vera are like rare, just fine and whatnot. Well, no one really cares about that kind of immersion anymore, because it's already that kind of immersion's already been destroyed for 14.
Right.
And just in the way that they write the world.
Right, and that's why I was saying like a lot of the mounts and crossovers and whatnot. Like people are saying like I can't male Vera are just it's so unbelievable. As as they get it go do the near automata, alliance raids and Shadowbringers and.
Oh my god! When they announced that, like everyone I know is like super excited about it. I'm like, but this isn't Final Fantasy. Like this is near like.
Right. At least with Robin Ostre and whatnot. At least that's in the Final Fantasy universe. Maybe it's a little bit of a stretch to put the Final Fantasy Tactics stuff into 14, but It's at least, you know, plausible.
It's Final Fantasy at least. It has that
Right.
overarching theme of being
Right.
Final Fantasy.
Right.
The like I didn't like the Monster Hunter world
Crossover. Right.
crossover. Like I was just like, this is dumb. This is fluff content. Whatever. But it was just like alternate stuff. But this is gonna.
Right.
But the Nier Automata stuff, that's gonna be the 24 mans. Like that's real content.
I'm getting stalker invaded.
Okay. And I actually find that a little upsetting, to be honest.
Right.
And then like the question is, are they gonna like give you like? And here's the other thing: I don't know Nier Automata. Like I've never played the game. I don't know that franchise. And now
Right.
it's being injected in the thing that I'm enjoying. So I'm just like, I'm kind of
A little bit of trepidation.
Right. Like I don't know this thing that's being put in the game.
Right. But I mean, the thing is, it's a very popular franchise. So the idea being that exactly what you're getting at. Like they can announce it and get people are excited about it. So they're gonna it's gonna be it's basically getting people to look forward to Shadowbringers. People also will pre-order and and stick around for Shadowbringers. I mean it's basic expansion content. It's kind of the whole point of expansion content. There's people that are already excited about remaking their characters as Vieira. I'm sure it's kind of the same thing in the role-playing servers, huh? That good, huh?
I'm waiting for the Vieira prostitutes to start hanging around the quicksands. I've heard entire Makote, because I'm very keyed into Makote tribe RP.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard there's entire tribes that are going to convert over to being Vieira groups. And I'm just like, okay, that's weird. Like,
Right.
it's just weird to me. I'm just like, okay, have fun. I guess you're not going to be part of our communities anymore.
Right.
And yeah, like I'm looking forward to Shadowbringers, but because I was so disappointed with Stormblood, and I was lukewarm with Heaven's Ward. Like I have
Heaven's Ward, I thought they did a good job with, like, especially like the initial story.
I liked the initial story, but once it went into the post story, I could not care less.
Right.
Like the story through the Turning Mist was my favorite part.
Yeah.
And then everything else I was meh about. But like I didn't care for the content that was released in Heaven's Ward. Like Diadem and Palace of the Dead's okay, but meh. And then they did Eureka in Stormblood, and
Eureka can fucking die in a fire.
I liked it at first, but when it didn't get any better,
right,
I hated it because I just figured, oh, it's the first zone, they'll refine it with the next zone.
And nope.
Make it better. Nope.
Yeah, I can't even stomach it. And the thing that kind of pissed me off about that, though, is like there's some stuff I kind of interested in.
Right.
But like not enough to grind, and like and stuff like obviously a lot of other people were interested in it, and weren't all interested because the prices on the market boards are still kind of stupidly high for a lot of stuff.
So you want to move on to the next subject?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let me
talk about some kind of the downsides, the problems, the issues.
Right.
As a developer, I like free to play. As a developer and a player, I like free to play. And, especially when it's done very well.
Like Warframe.
Yeah, Warframe is a good example, or like Dungeons and Dragons Online.
Mm-hmm.
I think DDO. We can talk a little bit more about the models in depth in the next section, but DDO, it basically the free to play model provides you with an alternative to subscribing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something like I really kind of appreciate. I like.
Well then.
And then on Warframe, it never feels like you're kind of pressured into buying stuff.
No, like they give you alternatives. They give you means of getting what you want without having to invest money into it. There's in-game options.
Right.
Which that's the good way of doing it. Like if you want to play it completely free and run off of the in-game economy, you can. Right,
exactly. So I think so these are done well, but there are a lot of ways to be done poorly. Your example of the perfect world stuff, which I would say it's more along the lines of the business model exacerbate poor design choices rather than being because of it. But I think kind of the one thing that people really love to hate these days is lockboxes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, loot boxes or lock boxes or whatnot. Where kind of the idea is you buy something, you open it up and it has a random chance to be whatever you want. I mean, it's very similar to how the relics work of what we're doing here. There's 3 tiers of items, and there's three bronze, 2 silver, and 1 gold item. Well, if you want the gold item, you're gonna have to be cracking open a whole lot of relics. Even if you skew even skew things to the maximum amount to try to get the rare items.
Mm-hmm.
It goes from 1% chance to I think 10%, if I remember I read the wiki before.
Right.
And so so if you get that 10% chance, you're still looking at cracking up about 10 relics to get that rare item. Right. Well, an average of 10 items. 10%, 10 items gives you an average chance of 100% to get your item.
Don't make me have to crack open my J charts for my stats analysis.
Nerd. Anyway, but so kind of the frustrating part is when you have to spend real money to do to buy to basically buy something you're gonna open and then not know what you're gonna get. It can feel really frustrating to a lot of people because they feel like they're getting a little taken advantage of, especially if you're opening stuff and you're getting repeats that can't be used for anything else or can't be traded to other people very easily or whatnot.
Right. I mean we can talk about the big controversy. God, was that like 2 years ago now? With Battlefield 2.
Remind me.
Battlefield 2 is the game that got everyone in a tizzy about lock boxes. That's the one that broke the camel's back. Because they didn't have loot boxes in the first Battlefield game. Or Battlefront game. It was Star Wars Battlefront, the revamp.
Oh, okay, yeah, Battlefront. Okay, yeah. I remember this, yeah. It was about 2 years ago now.
Yeah, and the second one they added loot boxes, but they added game affecting items behind the loot boxes, stat items.
Right.
And everyone got in a huff because the amount of grinding you had to do in game to get a loot box without spending money was like 40 hours per loot box or something like that.
Right.
Where you could, I think somebody spent like $1,000 on loot boxes or something like that, and they still didn't get the item they wanted.
Right.
or the item that they were trying to get to, and they were just like, this is ridiculous. Like,
Right.
I think.
Right. I mean, the kind of like the big problem that you got with loot boxes is it's. I mean, generally they're not always very explicit about like how the loot boxes work.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you're actually what your chances are.
Which Belgium actually made a law about that.
Right.
Where
they
have to show statistic odds.
Right. And then the other problem you run into is like like usually the games kind of like really are kind of obnoxious about the thing. Like Guild Wars 2 had lock boxes, and like 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 lock boxes dropped to the point where like you just got a ton of them, and like
Constantly.
Right, and like you couldn't even like sell them on the auction house. Like they became vendor fodder. But you could buy keys that would basically unlock them with real currency, and then using then you could basically open the lock boxes, and and they gave you a couple of keys. First hit's free, obviously. Kind of the idea of like you could open it up. Like kind of the same thing happened with what you call it, the Blade and Soul, the game we were playing when we first started doing it, streaming together. Kind of like a very similar thing, basically, where you got a ton of boxes. You got a ton of boxes. You got and then then you can get keys that But if you bought certain keys, then you'd get guaranteed drops for your class.
Right.
If you currently even if you normally couldn't trade the item, there's still a chance. Use the normal keys.
The thing with Blade and Soul though was that they gave you keys for completing quests and whatnot.
Right. Well, I mean, they gave you kind of the pleb keys. They gave you keys where you could get basically any weapon, even if the item was upgradable, you'd get any weapon out of it, even if it wasn't for your class.
Mm-hmm.
You were hoping to get the kind of the weapon drop from your class.
Reinforcements available. Do you choose now or continue fighting?
But you could basically buy keys, or you'd very rarely, I think, get one of the special keys that basically guaranteed a class drop for you.
I remember playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, which had a drop box system too, or not Star Wars: The Old Republic. Star Trek Online. Sorry.
Yeah, Star Trek Online is another one that gets
which their free-to-play model was created by guess who? Perfect World Entertainment.
Right.
Sorry, had to just throw that out. But they didn't give keys away at all for that game, and that was very frustrating. You could buy them for dilithium, which was because STO was one of those games that had two premium currencies. It had the Cash Shop premium currency, and then it had the in-game to premium Cash Shop currency. So dilithium was your in-game Cash Shop currency that could be converted into the premium Cash Shop currency.
Right.
It was very stupid and very annoying. Which that was annoying. I never opened a single lockbox in that game ever, but I only played that game for a couple of months.
Yeah, I have some friends that played it, and like because they'd put new ships in there. And people would really want the ships because they were either very powerful or very iconic, or
right
they were Star Trek nerds and they really wanted the whatever ship,
Enterprise C Infinite version.
Right with the Thanatos and
Oh my god! What amazing crossover that would be for Thanos to appear in Star Trek.
Exactly. Anyway, but yeah, and so like, you know, and you know, the idea, of course, is to get people to, of course, you know, to spend more money. I mean, it's and I mean, again, like, you know, we can kind of say, oh, it's so sinister, it's so horrible, it's so evil, but you know, the reality is like, you know, this is kind of the same thing, you know, like behind a lot of auctions, you know, like, the idea of like, you know, there's been plenty of times, you know, like you have an auction on eBay or whatnot, and like at the last minute, like, you know, there's a bidding war because suddenly somebody's invested, and it's kind of the same thing, like, oh, I want the Enterprise C, you know, Infinite Edition. Well, you know, well, I'll spend $10 on a loot box to see if I get it. Well, I didn't. But, well, I've already invested $10 in it, and to try to get this thing, and now what's another $10? You know, and you know, like.
Oh, there's a term for that. I forget what it is off the top of my head.
A loss aversion.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. We're getting all sciencey now, huh?
I was thinking about that the other day because I was thinking about one of my friends was talking about art commission raffles.
Oh yeah.
And like they spent far too much money on one.
But they got into a bidding war because they had the loss aversion. They
Well,
felt like they were...
I already spent, you know, might as well.
Right. And so, you know, it's basically kind of the same thing. You know, if you've spent $10 and haven't gotten the ship, well, maybe another $10 will get it.
Right.
You know, whereas the reality is, like, you know, if it's a 1% drop rate, well, yeah, and you're spending, you know, whatever, $1 a box or whatever. No, you're not going to. Another $10 is not going to give you that item. The $90 might. I mean, on average, you know, the other, you know, it's not possibly good, but
that's the fun of probability calculations.
Right, exactly.
Sorry, go ahead.
And people are, you know, a design rule is that people are just universally terrible at understanding probability. I mean, kind of go back to that, you know, the idea of, you know, the upgrading weapons. I remember playing this one game where, like, you know, people would upgrade and they said, you know, like they had a 90% chance to succeed. They're like, I failed 3 times in a row. That's impossible. It's like, no, that's completely impossible. I mean, that's completely possible.
It's just
is
not
it
probable.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, you're a math nerd. You understand. There's possible and probable. You know, all this shit is possible. It's just not very probable.
Yeah.
You got really lucky. Hey, congratulations. Well, unlucky, but yeah.
Yeah, people do that with Gathering and 14 all the time.
Right.
I had a 99% chance to get it, and I missed twice. Well.
Right. Yeah. You rolled, you know, you rolled double lot on a D100. Yeah, congratulations. You know.
Yeah, like my brain exploded when I started learning statistics.
Yes.
Because the world turns into a much less fun place once you understand probability. And you're just like,
right.
Oh, this is depressing. But
right. Oh, and especially when you realize that, you know, like, you know, how we intuitively understand probability is completely and utterly wrong.
Although I do have to say my stat book was one of the most depressing books you can read.
Right.
Because the author was obviously like going through some shit. Because like some of the like exercise problems would be like a man had a fender bender while on the way back from his divorce lawyer's office.
Oh,
wow. Like
wow.
it throws all this really weird detail at you.
Right. It's like obviously like, you know, like was the author on Suicide Watch?
Like, and even my professor, because it was the new edition.
Right.
We were using a new edition that year, and my professor was just like going through it, just like, holy shit! I want to call this author and just ask him if everything's okay.
Right.
And like, so whenever I think about statistics, I just think about those exercise problems. I was just like,
ultra depressing.
I'm sad
depression
now.
on top of it. Hey, yo, dog! I heard you like depression, so we put some depression in your depression. So
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, and so like people really don't understand probability. So yeah, like and I think kind of like one of the negatives of the lockbox is they kind of like exploit this misunderstanding of probability. Whereas like in like you said, like Final Fantasy, like gathering rates or high quality rates or whatnot, like like kind of do the same thing, but like you're not sucking somebody out of money because they're not understanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You're sucking somebody out of time.
I think with gathering in particular, if I remember correctly, when you have like 90% success rate, it's actually 90% of 80% chance.
Right, there's some.
Like,
yeah.
You're not running on base 100. You're actually running off of a fraction. So you're getting 100% of a fraction.
Right.
And that's what throws people off because they don't know that 100% can mean something else.
Right. I don't think that's exactly how it works, but yeah, but I get what you're saying. Like, people see a certain percent, it may not reflect. That might not be the raw percent.
Right.
That's used behind the scenes.
I don't remember what the exact equation for how gathering chance works, but that was an example that I was giving someone of how it could work.
Right.
And how they could just be fudging the numbers to make us feel better.
Right.
So I mean, we kind of talked about random reward schedules.
Right. I mean, but that's kind of like I think that's
the technical term for loot boxes.
Well, I mean, it's a technical term for a lot of stuff that happens in the game as well. It's the idea is that if you don't know what to expect, suddenly getting surprised.
By Dejar's bringing up ethics. It's an ethical issue for disclosing probability like that.
Well, again, I think that disclosing probability is while it's nice, like it doesn't really change a whole lot.
Right.
Because like people suck at probability. You can say it's a 1% chance to get something, and then somebody can buy 10 lockboxes and get upset that why didn't this thing appear?
Because
buy
you
10 lockboxes. Right, yeah, exactly. Like because people don't understand probability on a very intuitive level. You can disclose all you want. That doesn't mean I think disclosing is better than not disclosing.
Yes.
But I don't think that basically that's like a cure-all. Like suddenly all the problems with the loot boxes disappear if we reveal the probability.
Honestly, it just takes the liability off of the company because they say, well, this person was able to make an educated
decision about Well, I mean, the thing is, I was like, you're not, you don't buy lockboxes, by sitting down and figuring out the probability and stuff like that. You buy lockboxes because oh, I want that item.
Right.
It's rare, but so I need to buy a lot more lockboxes. And again, talking about probable versus possible. It's possible to buy 100 lockboxes with a 1% drop rate and still not get the item that you want with that 1% drop rate.
And it's also possible for all of the molecules in your body to jump state at the same time and phase you through any object you're touching. It's possible.
Possible. Not very probable.
Not probable, but it's possible.
Right.
Whenever I'm explaining possibility and probability, that's the example I use.
Right. No, I mean, and so it's possible, but not probable that all 100 lockboxes will be that 1% chance item.
Oh my god, that would be fantastic. Right.
That
person needs to immediately go and get a lottery ticket.
Well, they probably used up all their luck doing that. Even though you can't really use up luck, and there's no such thing as in scientific terms, there's no such thing as luck like that. But
how dare you tell me that's one of my religious beliefs in life, and you've discriminated against my religion.